Okay, so this is my first video. A couple of folks have asked me to do a video showing how I sketch. So just to make that clear from the start, this is how I sketch. It's not a how to sketch. I'm self-taught. I probably use a few techniques that would make actual art teachers' toes curl, but I'll show you what works for me, and you can sort of decide what you take from that, and hopefully it'll help you to get the sort of sketching results that you're looking for. So first things first, this is a video where I'm going to be using Pro markers. Pro markers do give a really nice result. They give you very strong colours, but you do have to watch what you're doing because they are permanent. As soon as you make a line, it more or less stays there. There is no way of getting rid of it. So you have to kind of learn how to cover up mistakes, how to dress things up, make them look not so bad, because it's very difficult to draw a sketch without making any kind of errors in it at all, any kind of moments where your hand doesn't listen to your brain and puts a line where you don't want it. So I'll run through how I do it. Just on that, if you're practicing sketching, if you're sort of starting out sketching and you're sort of trying to hone your techniques and get your hands to do what you want them to do, I would strongly recommend that you don't use pencils. That's the sort of usual go-tos. You go for your standard pencils, your art set of pencils where you've got H through to B, and you can have different degrees of darkness and all the rest of it. I would scratch that. You don't need to buy pencils like that. You don't need fancy pads or anything like that. I actually learned to sketch using a biro and just a line bit of pen. I was a doodler, and I just kept taking it further and further. Just to illustrate that, I mean, you'll be thinking you can't do a decent sketch with a biro, but you can. So this under here is one of my earlier sketches. It was a car that I was working on. I was dreaming up and looking to build. I did actually have a crack at building this car, but these were the sort of earlier sketches for it. You should always sign and date your sketches. For example, I found this in an old book. It's dated 2002, and I can see that that's what my sketching was at in 2002. I took that a wee bit further forward, kept footing with it. 4 years later, I produced this. This is actually pastels. It's pencil with line over the top, then pastels for the colour, and then sort of permanent marker over the top of that to give the black lines better definition. With pastels, if you can, I would recommend laminating it, because that's 2006, so that's now 10 years old, that sketch, and it's as good quality as the day I did it, because I laminated it. With pastels, it tends to get smudged with pages rubbing against pages and everything else, so it's a cheap way of making sure your sketch will last forever if you want to keep it that long. So that's just a little bit of basics on how to get started. The pastels are a lot cheaper than Pro markers. Same sort of principles. You put it on light, work your way to darker colours. You can put highlights in. You can do it with a rubber with pastels, which you can't do with Pro markers, but it's a good one to practice before you go to the expense of getting Pro markers. So put that to the side. This is just a couple of drawings that I've got. This was last year when I was doing the design methodology in HNC. I had to do the bike trailer. This is just my kind of rough sketching. I tend to not use a pencil. I just use a pen. As you can see, the motorbike's really rough. The lines are a bit wonky, but I'm having a go with shading my arrows and things like that. Just seeing how things would look, practicing layouts and stuff, for how I want to illustrate how things work. I've got a few more of these different designs, single wheel, canopy, stuff like that. Moving on to a wee bit with the Pro markers. This was one of the first sketches I did with the Pro markers. You can see here I'm way over the lines. You know, it's not very tidy. I've put in a bit of a background just to give it a wee extra something. I've got some sort of reflective type styles on my arrows. The shadows and the arrows are just done with a black pen. That, you know, everything's still kind of rough. Starting to take it a wee bit further. Got a perspective drawn in the middle of it now, with a sort of, deliberately I haven't coloured the motorbike. I've let it run over the top of that. I've got how things work here. Again, just practicing layouts, practicing backgrounds. Got colour here, which doesn't serve any purpose at all other than to sort of draw your attention and give the sketch a wee lift. Again, sort of on the same theme, just finalising designs, thinking about how I'm going to show the thing in different positions. My writing's terrible, but it's roughly all over the place. Just trying to work out how things are going to look and how to make a sort of design sketch. Moving forward again, same sketch, same subject, showing how things click together. And I've got my motorbike again. It's just in the background, drawn over. The orange has come back for the background colour because I like the blue and the orange. I don't know if that's just subliminal iron brew, but the design evolves from there, and this is me sort of working out how I'm going to draw arrows, how I'm going to illustrate how the thing turns and everything. And this was the sort of final design, the final sketch. It's a bit tidier. I've got a wee bit of use here of the blue pencil. You would just get a clutch pencil like this and put a blue lead in it to do that. And I've also got sort of black pen and stuff over the top of that, and Pro markers to give me some strong colours. I'm sort of illustrating how the thing turns here with some sort of lighter versions. I've got the fixing detail here. I've still got the motorbike. It's very faint. I don't know if you can just about see it. It's in blue now, so it's even fainter than the black one before. Subtle here. The lines are a bit tidier. My handwriting's a wee bit tidier. Wee arrows brought in, and you know, it's a nice sketch. I'm happy with how that one turned out. So we'll move on quickly to my HND. No, not my HND, sorry, my HNC graded unit when I was doing my car. I had some ideas for my car. I wanted to show how things worked. I've got the blue pencil again here. The blue pencil is nice. If you sketch on top of it and leave the blue, it's quite a nice effect. You can't rub it out though, which can be difficult when you're doing layouts, because sometimes that isn't working. You rub it out and you redo it. So just a couple of things there. What I do is I'll usually draw it in pencil, and then I'll go over it in black ink. It's permanent ink. That means I can put my Pro markers over it and the black won't bleed. And what I usually do at this stage, if I get that looking the way I want it, I'll photocopy that, and then I'll colour in that, so that if you make a mess of it, you can move on without having to redraw this. Because to get to that stage with the F1 car, where I was really trying to sketch hard, it was a good couple of hours just to get to this stage. I've got a couple of moments here where it hasn't gone quite right to let you see. So that was the finished colouring in the way I wanted it with the Pro markers. I was trying layouts, I was trying ways of making it illustrate what I wanted it to do. You can see here that they weren't really working. That was quite good, but this just didn't work. So I sort of shelved that. Practicing layouts here again. That's really messy. That was Pro markers. I actually went out and bought thinner pens to do that illustration, which you'll see later on in the finished sketch. I'm sort of practicing things here. This is just a colour photocopier, and a print of the Pro marker sketch. So I've got that colour there before I start, and I'm practicing where I'm putting stuff. It just saves so much time, because to get that coloured like that, as I'd said before, it was about 2 hours for the line drawing, and then to get that colour right, it was a few attempts, and It took maybe about another 2 to 3 hours to get the Pro markers just the way I want them. So there's a finished sketch. I've used the Pro markers for the background colour, and I've used the really thin liners for the arrows and stuff here. I've tried to make it as neat as I can. That's just a colour photocopy, and then the stuff around about it is actual drawing Pro markers, lines and everything else, and I then photocopied that again and submitted the colour photocopier and kept the original for the future or whatever. This is the second car. That's an idea of how I initially do it. It's obviously very rough. It's blue. I'm never going to be able to rub that out. I'm stuck with it. But what I did was I did that, and then I lined over the top of it and photocopied it, and it came out like that. Won't go to them for some reason. I then tried to do my colours. This is me practicing for my tyre shades, and I'm getting mixed results here. This here is an attempt at blending with the blending pen, which I'll show you later. I personally don't like it. You just end up with a dodgy type mark that doesn't really help your drawing. Don't know if I can zoom in on that. Like you see, it's not very nice. It's not very tidy. It just bleaches the middle, blurs it, and gives you this horrible tide mark, which to me just pointless, waste of time. So I don't use them anymore. Again, failed attempt, just didn't work. Too much blue, so bin that. That's what I went with in the end. I was happier with that. It's a wee bit darker than the other design just because of the shading on it, but photocopied that, and then from there drew all round about it with the Pro markers. This is Pro markers, that's colour photocopy, this is Pro markers, and copied the whole thing again and submitted that. And that was the final thing. So today I'm going to draw stuff for my HND prototyping unit. We're doing a variation on a machine that lifts a container and puts it down. So this is the forklift. This is a sketch I've already done. I still to annotate it. I haven't done that. I'd like to colour photocopy it again so that I've got this sketch and then I can do the annotation and submit the annotated one. And this one I've done my initial sketch in pencil. I've left them in. I quite like leaving them in. It lets you see how the sketch got there. It lets you see that someone did actually hand draw this, which I think's nice. My arrows have got, we've now got the darker reds doing the shadows instead of the pen work, the black pen that was in one of my earlier sketches I showed you. It's just moving on, building up my Pro markers, because they are expensive. The more colours you've got, the more sort of different ranges of colour you can do more things. This is another one. This is again a crane container here. It's just basic line work, and then I've used different colours to give you the sense of the folding and the metal. Just different shades of grey, black outlines. That one is pencil drawn. It's a wee bit neater. You can't quite see them, but there's some hints of it in various places in the sketch. Also through the chains, I did that in pencil as well to get the lines right, and then I went over it with a thin black marker, a wee bit of pencil there. But yeah, it's good. You don't need to go crazy with the stuff that you buy. These pads aren't that dear from the likes of the Range or what have you. 50 sheets, 110 GSM, but with Pro markers, you're gonna go through a good half a dozen pages of that. So what I do is I stick a page of this behind it. This is it's a Bristol board. As you can see, it's not the cheapest. That was from an art shop in town, and it's good. It's good. It gives you a really nice drawing. It's almost like card. So what I always do is I always have a sheet that I put underneath of this Bristol board, even if I'm using that other pad, and it stops things going through. Because even with this, it'll go through, and you'll just waste the page behind. So sacrifice one and then just use it over and over again. So a wee bit about Pro markers. They are quite dear, as I'd said. You could buy them individually. These are new ones that I've just bought. They've been taken over by Winston & Newton, so they look slightly different from the rest of the ones. You can mail order them. They come like that in a jiffy bag. You can get them for just shy of £2 each. And you can get, there's like a whole spectrum of colour. You can pick what you want. Or you can look out for deals like this. I bought this purely for doing the tyres in the F1 car, and it's come in really handy. I would recommend you get this set. You'll get that for about a tenner. What you've got, I don't know if you can see that with the reflection, I'll just open it up. So you've got the different shades of grey, and you can have, that's almost like a hint of grey. It's almost like there's nothing there at all. Moving right through to black. It lets you do different kinds of shadows and shading and stuff. Extremely good for tyres if you're going to be drawing any tyres. So I'll stick them over here. The next stage up is you buy something like this. This is quite nice. It comes as a case. It'll have not just as many pens that's in it. You usually find you get you know, each row of 3, and that'll cost you about £30. Maybe 40 depending on where you get it, but it does keep them nice. It's got a nice feature where you can do that, so you can set your pens up. That's how I use them. I've got mine arranged in spectrum. It's mainly because I'm actually colour defective and I can get certain shades mixed up, so I always keep my pens in a spectrum. It also makes drawing easier, because if you're using like a blue, for example, you might start off with a really light blue and then add a bit more definition, but go down the colours, making it a bit darker. Or even if you want to go from blue into green, you know, depending, you might be doing some sort of water reflection or glass or something like that. It just makes it very easy to kind of reach for the next pen, do a bit darker and go like that. So I've got them set up just out of shot. I've also got another set that I've got. This one has all my black marker pens. I do have a Sharpie, although I tend not to use it as much because it bleeds quite badly. What I tend to use the most is these guys. I got this set from the range for a tenner. They've got various ends on them, going right through to the calligraphy one, which I actually don't use that much, if I'm honest. I tend to use small, extra small bowls. That's quite a nice one, and fine or medium for the sort of outlines. So they'll be coming into play. I tend to keep them ready to go. And for my line work, I use my initial sort of laying out. I'm just going to use a standard 0.5mm clutch pencil. It's just got your standard grey lead in it. It's good for this because you guys will be able to see it. If I used a fine art pencil, it would probably be too fine for you to see. So this is what I'm going to use, and I'm going to leave my lines on. As I say, I like it. It gives a wee extra thing, because people can see that it's been drawn. So I'll just get started. Sorry, I'm drinking a coffee. It's a crucial part of the process. So what I'm going to be drawing is a sort of machine for lifting containers and moving them about. I'm going to have the body of the machine here with this sort of, this machine has a boom that comes out and it basically pick up a container here, and then I'm going to do a detail view of how it works here, similar to the crane, you know. So there's the main machine, there's the detail view of obviously that section showing how it works, and there'll be extra annotation on that obviously once it's all done. So I'll just go ahead. Now I'm quite rough and ready when I'm sketching, so bear with me. But what I do is I sort of mark out the sort of sizes that I want. I usually always draw a rectangle if appropriate. and what I'm doing here is a slight perspective on the machine. I want the majority of the perspective to be on the rest of it. Perspective drawing, what you're doing is you're sort of projecting your lines through to a dot, which is way off the page. But you've just got to kind of imagine a dot, or even if you just want to sit something on the desk further down and just look down your line and make sure it's connecting with that dot. But once you've done it for a while and you've done a bit of practice, you can more or less do it in your head, and just you've got an imaginary dot that you're taking all your lines to give a perspective. So I'm just going to go ahead and start lining some of this through. I'm just having a look and see how this is. I've actually got a screen just out of shot which has got the source material that I'm referencing here. So you occasionally see my pencil coming in at funny angles. That's me. What I do is I hold my pencil to the angle of the subject, and then I can take that onto the page, and then I've got a rough idea of what kind of line I want. So that's a technique that I use a lot to get my perspective right. If I'm using a reference, I'll do this till the line's right, put it where I want it, and then quickly draw it before I forget where it's gone. Okay, so this machine has some sort of hydraulic arms that come up. I put that line in the wrong place. I'm not concerned. It's fine. You probably won't even notice it when the sketch is done. Let's see, just get the angle of the boom. So the boom's coming along like that. I'm just going to quickly rattle that in. I'm not too concerned at the moment. As I say, it's going to be rough and ready. You're going to see these lines, but the pro markers are going to be that bright that you're really not going to notice them much. I'm just putting in the cab of the machine roughly. Make sure I'm kind of happy with that. And at this stage I usually go ahead and sort of check where things are going in relation to the source material. You can actually see here that I've gone a bit ski with. This isn't looking quite right. Cab's maybe a bit small, should be over here. Again, I'm just leaving the lines in. I'm not too concerned. Boom arm's going across like this. So there we go. I'm going to have some big wheels here. As you see, they're not by any means detailed at the moment. It's got double wheels at the front, so I'm just going to put them in. I'm literally just rattling straight through the first one. I'm not bothering with all this kind of nonsense, you know. It's not. You don't need to do that. Get it the way you want it. Get the lines. You can go a bit heavier where you need them, but you don't need to do that because you're going to be putting pen over it anyway. Get it where you need it. So let me see. I might go quiet. It's just because I'm running out of things to say. Talking to a camera. Right. Okay, so moving up to the bit where the stuff happens. It comes out roughly there, the box in, the boom's going to connect to that. At this point the perspective is starting to change, so my horizon line's going to be about here, so these lines will go like that. So this then has to have an angle on it. It's going to be picking up a shipping container, so I've got to kind of work out which size the shipping container is going to be. Stuff closer to the centre of your sketch is always bigger than stuff further out. This is just perspective, it just gives it an extra bit of realism. So I'm just going to roughly draw a shipping container in. There isn't actually one in the sketch, so you're going to have to kind of bear with me a wee bit with this whilst I say sketch, the source material, whilst I get this the way I want it. As you can see, it's all very quick, very rough. Just whacking lines in and doing my thing and hoping for the best. As I say, not concerned. Once you put black lines on top of this and you put some really strong colour on top of this, no one is going to look at the pencil marks. You have to look really closely at it to see them, and you know, it just shows, as I say, it just shows someone actually drew this, and this is how they laid it out and everything else. You see me resizing things as I go. Apologies if this is quick, but you know, by the time this video's done, it's probably going to be a while. So I'm just trying to do it fast, but do the best I can. Right, okay, so shipping container, it's got bolts and stuff. It's going to have lines down like that. I want that to be getting bigger as it goes down. Right, okay. I'm happy enough with that. You can go into more detail if you want, but you're only going to be drawn over it again, so there's not really much point. So I'll put a pencil away and I'll go for the small pen. Save the extra small behind. You might have some fine detail you want to do later on. If you draw everything with the extra small pen and then you want to do something that's a bit thinner, you don't have a pen that you can do that with. So keep that to the side, use the small, that way you've always got the option of going a bit thinner if you want. So again, I'm using my pen to get my angles right, to work out what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in a wheel. Now that you know, it's not perfect, as you can see. It's not round. It's not far off. It's all right though, because it's a big chunky wheel. So we're going to be disguising it a bit. We're putting lines around it. Big chunky tyre. Again, as you can see, it's not particularly neat. It's not particularly accurate. That's one thing you have to consider when you're doing a sketch. It is a sketch. It's not a photo. There is no point in spending hours and hours and hours on one detail, giving it what you would call photorealism. One, because you probably won't be able to achieve photorealism, and two, it's just a huge waste of time, because to do it for the entire thing, you're just going to have a photo. No one's going to believe you drew it. Just, you know, just keep it what it is. It is a sketch. Be truthful with that, and draw it as such. It's your representation. You get away with quite a lot. I think a lot of people get bogged down with sketches trying to do it as accurate and everything else as they can. There is absolutely no need for it, because, like I said, you're doing a good sketch, you're not doing a photo. You want a photo, go get your camera. Right, so here we go. I want to put in some bolts, some little nuts on these wheels. Bring in my extra small. As you can see, that is smaller than that. That is important. That's some of the stuff that gives it realism. So there's that wheel. That wheel's always going to be smaller than that wheel, and likewise that wheel's always going to be smaller than that wheel. This is the wheel at the front. This is the wheel closest to the person who's looking at the sketch, so that wheel needs to be bigger. So that's what we'll do, and I'm actually going to, just to check it, I'm just going to put a wee line in. So that wheel's going to be that size, quite a bit bigger than that one, maybe 10 millimeters or something. But so I'm going to go ahead. Again, I'm not going to be hugely accurate. This one I'm doing lots of little lines. That one I'm just going to did it in the water. I want this one to look a wee bit better because it's right in the front of the sketch. Here, my line's running off, so I don't want to do a flat line. I want to just give it a wee kick up. And then we've got a gap, and then there's another one. We kick up again, around here. It's probably just going to be shadow. Slightly, that one is slightly thicker than that one, which is wrong. It should be the other way around, but I'll cover all that up with pro markers and it won't be an issue later on, so that's fine. So we're going to move on to these. These wheels, doubles, same as them, but they need to be smaller because they are in essence further away. It's not going to be as strong as that, but you are going to get that sense of perspective. So maybe, don't know if I've done that quite the way I wanted to. So another thing I do is I measure using my pen. Nah, we're fine. We're at 5mm, which is, that's 10mm smaller, that's 5mm smaller. That's closer than that one is, so I'm happy with that. That's gonna look alright. So I'm just trying to get the point at which this wheel's going to come into play about right. I'm going to say that's going to be the centre. That's going to be roughly the outside bit. So I'm just going to go for here. And I've got my tread coming across, coming down like that. And again, same with the other wheel. Not as much of a gap as I had in those wheels, because they're further away you wouldn't see as much of a gap. To follow perspective, put an extra bit on that one, it's fine, doesn't matter. You probably won't notice it when it's done. I think a good part of this is just learning what you're going to get away with and not getting hung up on all the rest of it. It's like Barry said about Inventor, it's learning what to do when it goes wrong. It's the same with sketching. Learning what you can get away with, what you need to spend time on, what to do if it goes wrong. So I'm just going to go ahead and start putting in some of the boom. We're going to have some lines coming down here. And they're going to be roughly on a line like that, just so I get my, where I'm putting them about right. It comes down. Now it's just kind of rough at this stage again. I'm not going to be selling these. I'm not marketing this boom to anybody. I'm not going to be having an engineer coming in telling me that that's not right, that's not how that looks. So you know, it's not millimetre perfect or to scale or anything else. It's just illustrating what's there. If you want millimetre perfect, use Inventor. This is a sketch. I keep saying it, but it's important that people realise what they're doing and you know, draw it that way with that in mind. Right. Okay, just seeing what I've got. Okay, so that's going to come up, continue into the boom. This bit's going to come across here. Oh, drop the pen. That line's wrong. Should be going up the way. Never mind. We'll leave it in. Nothing I can do about it. It's in pen. It's black. It's bold. It's right there for the world to see. Can't hide it. Not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm just going to go on with the rest of the sketch. So, got some sort of mighty wheel arches here. They're very thin though. I don't need to give too much detail on them. Right, okay, so that is tone eye or some sort of eye type component. And that's coming up. That's going to be my second boom. Tone eye in. Bring that down. So it's time to put the booms in. Hydraulic piston lifter thingy bobbers. So I'll just take these up. I'm not going all the way. I'm not entirely sure where they're going yet, so I need to make sure this one's bigger, or at least the same size. If it's skinnier, it'll just look odd. So I'll go with that. Not too bad. Put another line in there. Right, cab. the cab's actually moved. The way I've drawn this now, the cab's not in the right place, but never mind. Just do what we do, move it about, let the sketch evolve as it goes. The speed I drew the pencil marks in, I was never going to get it spot on anyway. As like I said, keep saying it, not fussed. It's not going to ruin my sketch. So I'm putting these in. I'm not being overly precise about it. What I'm doing is I'm trying to make sure that I leave edges open. I can tidy them up later. I'm going to be going over this with another pen once I've done my colour anyway. This is just finalising where I'm putting stuff, and then the pro markers will be coming into play once I've done all that. So I'll go ahead and continue. Sorry, it's difficult thinking what to say when you're talking to a camera. First video I've done, so you have to bear with me in places, I think. So that is going to need to go down a bit because it's going further away. That's fine, it actually runs right to the edge, so just continue that line. You've just got to be brave with the pens. I find putting a sort of reasonable amount of pressure, sort of medium level pressure on them, and just going a wee bit slower gives you greater accuracy. Whatever works for you. I mean, I'm not trying to carve the page or anything. It's just, just taking a breath and doing it, I guess. So there's a kind of stair coming up here. These stairs are going to be very dark because they're black in the source material, so I don't need to worry too much about where these lines are going. They're going to be well and truly covered. That screen comes down there, the rest of it goes like that, we've got a wee bit like that. You can now start to see the other boom in the background. I keep calling that boom, I don't know what it is. Support leg or something. Don't know the terminology, never looked at container movers in my life before, so here I'm drawing one. Right, I haven't actually been looking at the camcorder, so I'll just have a quick look, check everything's okay. Yep, I think you can still see everything, so that's fine. I'm going to jump back, do a bit more of my wheel because I realised I haven't done it. Again, it's got to be a bit bigger. That could potentially be too big. Extra small again. Get my nuts in. This has some nice little details here. They've got a slight gradient on them, which is nice. Pens will pick that up. Make that look good. And just put a wee bit of detail again, extra small, wee access panel here. Those hinges, wee latch, that's right. All of that. I've got a railing here, so it looks like you got these stairs up here and into the railing and into the door. So I'll go to the railing. Just a double line. It doesn't need to be too accurate because it's also black, so it's going to have a very dark grey on it probably. It's got a wee support structure there, and there's a support structure there, and I think that actually attaches to there. And likewise that attaches to there. So this is all one piece, and these are stairs. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in. So Mr. Dock Worker goes up his stairs in his cab. How's he into the cab? I don't need to home, so we'll just put that in. It's very dark. This part of the machine is black, so it's going to be grey markers, and we're not too concerned. It's got a big windscreen wiper thing on it, so put that detail in. The light's coming from here, so I need to be a wee bit more careful here because this isn't going to have black on it. Although it's black in the real world, it's going to be showing reflections, so I can't use black there. But the other side of the rail, it's the other side of the machine. You need to be careful to try and make these thinner than that one because it's further away again. Not too concerned though, it's a minor detail. Folk aren't going to be, ooh, that burns in slightly the wrong place. You know, no one's going to bother with any of that, so I'm happy enough. Right, so onto my boom. That is coming down like this. It's now. I do turn my page. This is one of those ones that it's a do or do not, depending on who showed you. But I turn my page to draw lines. It's just how I do it. I don't see any problems with it. Some folk will have you trying to draw it properly, but if you want, I always find if I'm drawing a line and I want it to be straight, I'll draw it straight towards myself, slowly. I use my hand, and my hand is pressed quite firmly against the page here. But yeah, I'm happy enough with that. It's reasonably straight. I'm not going to get a ruler. I don't think I've even got a ruler here to show you, but it's not far off. It looks straight. Like I said, it is a sketch, as long as it looks good. That's what you're after. So this is coming up. It's a cylinder, so we've got a curve, it's got a bit in there that comes out. It's going to be a nice chrome, so we'll be using a sort of lighter pen for that. This is a sort of industrial strength bit that holds that in place, so that's fine like that. Go ahead and put another bit of this boom in. Just trying to see what I've got there. That could be in the wrong place, that line. So I'm going to have it here. No, it's alright. It's okay. Looks fine. Going up. Now, I never pulled it towards myself and look what I've gone and done. That is narrower than that. Not what I was looking for, but it'll be alright. It'll be okay. This time I'll do it the way I normally do it and pull it towards myself. We'll get a nice bit of perspective on it, and that should take your eye off the fact that that one's slightly wrong, which is good. I like that. That again. Never turned the pad. Line's going up the way. Should be going that way. It's going like that. Should be going like that. But hey ho. What I'll do is I'll try and fix it with this one. No, it's fine. It's fine, looks alright. Got away with it. It'll look better once it's coloured. Come up here, whatever curve on there. That's fine. Another bit in there. Minor detail. Stuck a double line on it. Just because it's going to have a wee bit of shadow in the background. And that's it starting to look quite good. So maybe go ahead and start using some pro markers to give some definition. This is actually a big wheel arch here, so we'll just put that in there, and we'll just bring them around there. Wee bit of artistic license here, just doing what I think will make the sketch look like it makes more sense. Right, okay, so these need to have a bit more definition here. I've got some lines coming up, these are ridges. There we go. Put some more in. Okay. Right. Let's put some colour into it. Sorry, I cracked my fingers. Right, so the machine is kind of ready orange and black, so I'm going to get some pro markers. So you get all different names for all different colours, but I try and lay these out as best I can in a spectrum. What I sometimes do is over the page I'll mark what they are. You can see I've done it on this one. I had 3 different yellows and I've written what they are, and I can see, you know, which one's lighter, darker, darker again. So this is what I usually do. So I'll go with what I think's the lightest one. which is Halloween, and then I'll go bright orange, put it next to it, slightly darker. I think this one might be the next one in line. So sunset, lipstick red, so that should be fairly red, you would think. Do a couple of lines with the Pro markers. Yeah, so illustrate that here. If you do one quick line, you get this kind of weird. It's as if the ink just doesn't soak into that quite right. So what I do is I usually give it a couple of lines. The ink bleeds into itself and it kind of blends. As long as it's wet at the time, you can do things like that. This Halloween pen that I was just using is actually, it's on its last legs, so I'm gonna shelve that one because it's gonna sting me later, probably. Bring in another red, molten red. See if that's right. So that's really bright. I would actually reckon that's probably going to be more in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my pens out. In order of darkness, and then I'll put them out to the side. But that's what I've done. That's how I know where I'm going with what. And we'll start putting some colour in. So highlights. Well, the lightest colour is going to be on this side here because that's the light is coming in this direction. So I am going to do that. I just noticed I forgot a bit of the machine. There's a box here. So we'll just have that in there. That's fine. Right. So you can use a big fat end, or you can use skinny end. I use the skinny end a lot, if it's a small bit. But it's good to do the edges with it, and then use the fat bit to colour it in. As I say, as long as you're getting it when it's wet, that'll just blend. You won't have the lines that you can maybe see. I don't know if you can see. It looks quite small on the wee screen that I've got. Have that in there, and a bit on there. May actually have. What I'm doing here is I'm leaving a wee bit of white for reflection. You can't take Pro markers away, so if you're going to have a reflection to illustrate the curve, you need to leave it from the start. So you need to kind of think about where that's going to go. Same here. I reckon it's going to be going in there. Just going to colour this bit in. Again, I move my paper. Some would tell you not to, but I do it. I find it easier for me. Whatever works. What you can do with Pro markers is they go on top of each other with no fuss whatsoever. So if you've got bits that you're quite happy are going to be at very least that colour, just go ahead and colour them in, because you can put a dark colour over the top and it'll be fine. You do get a wee bit of transparency, but to be honest with you, in the real world this would all be the one colour anyway, and therefore the lightest colour would be present in the darker bits. It would be there somewhere, you know. So you can go for it. Just colour everything in that's that colour. Just trying to see what's going on. So here, these are curved. There is a wee highlight there. I'm going to leave that in. I'm not too fussed about what's in the cab. I'm going to do a nice reflection on there. In the actual source material you can see the orange through the cab, but mine, because it's easier to draw, is just going to have a nice shiny window and you can't see through it to the machine behind. Another bit of highlight, and here again. Also, you can put black on top of orange. Obviously, it's not going it's not going to hurt anything. You can go ahead and cover it. It's not going to make any difference. But greys you might have an issue with, so I'm going to leave my cool steps for later. I'm going to colour in between them. Now I'm moving quite quick. You have to get this whilst it's wet. You have to join this orange into that orange whilst it's wet, or you'll end up with all the wee squiggly lines where your pen's passed. You want it to blend into itself and make a nice solid colour, because there's not squiggly lines all over it in the real world. Even you're pushing it with a sketch, covering it in squiggly lines. Right, okay, so that's more or less all the orange. No, it's not. Got a bit down here to do. Should have perhaps left a little bit of white there, but it'll be alright. It'll be fine. I'm not going over into that orange because that's dry. This is wet. I'll end up with a darker orange line. Inside of the wheel arches and the wheels are also orange, so they're much darker orange because they're in shadow, but like I said, it's almost like putting on a base colour. We're going to need a bit around here. Looking at the wheels, we need that, so I'm going to put that in. Don't need to be overly accurate because you're going to be putting darker colours on top. Actually, that bottom bit's orange as well. Yeah, I think that's it. No, it's not. I'm lying again. Got all this to do. Normally when you're watching a sketching video, this is the bit where it goes really fast, but Frank asked me not to do that, so bear with me. I'll try and colour in as quick as I can. Actually, that line that I put in by mistake earlier, we're just going to use that as a wee bit of a highlight because, you know, it works for that as well. Right, wheels have this orange up. Put that in. That's fine. Don't need to worry about that one too much. We just put a wee bit in, just to get a wee bit of detail type stuff. Make it look like something else is going on. Right, time to put in some stronger colours. Right, so this is my next shade. This is that shade. It'll look a bit oranger because I'm putting it on top of orange, which is nice. It'll work quite well. Let's see, darker bit here. Some of this will be completely covered in this colour. You know, some of it will just go the whole hog. I tend to build it up. You can always add, but you can't take away, so I tend to just keep going. So I might colour this bit in. I've coloured it in orange and putting this sort of red on it. I might go darker red again on it. It's just how I do it, build it up. This bit's darker, so we'll just go straight in with this. It's darker still. The shadow from my step. Just the light hitting that panel. It's actually quite dark in here, so bring this out. Just leave a wee bit there that catches the light. And here we've got a kind of round shape, so I'm just going to try and copy that shape with the different colours, and that will hopefully give it a sense that it's rounded. Aye, that one needs it as well. Going in. Right, so we've got a couple of wee highlights there, but the majority of it is the darker colour, because it is actually red. It's kind of dark orange, reddy colour. So that needs some as well. Just give it a wee bit like that. Right, darker still. And I'm going to be a bit more precise about where I'm putting this colour. I want to really start bringing the darks out. Get a bit of shadow here from the boom and that, so I'm just going to get that going there. Wheels are going to be darker, especially up here. And the overhangs, some of that, bit of that. Make sure we can see their different bits. That's going to be dark. Alright, darker still. I'm not feeling that. I think I need something darker. So, what's this one? Chili red. Let's stick it next to this, see how it looks. A bit more depth to it. Not satisfied it's dark enough. Go for something else. That's nice. I like that. It's darker. So, this is going to be my really dark orange bits. So, bring these in. Some of this I'll put grey over the top as well. okay, that's starting to look alright. Need a wee bit under my stairs now, just to emphasise them a bit. And bottom edge. Things are usually dark at the bottom edge unless there's a light under them, so you can safely do that, I think. You have quite a strong panel going in there, so I'm going to take a dark edge right across. And I'm just about happy at that, I think, for my orangey bits. What I might do is put a bit of texture on that, a bit of depth. Very subtle, you wouldn't see it really, but right. Okay, so a bit more line work to do now, so I'm going to get my fine pen, and this is the bit where you start to see the sketch change. So I'll bring this out, this round here. I'm just taking the line over it exactly where I had it. What this is doing, this is hiding some of the rough edges that I've got with pro markers. There's a thing we're drawing where you put a thicker line around where something doesn't meet something else, so these are set up on their own, so they get a sort of outline. You don't put it there because that's meeting that, but you put it there because there's nothing around there. That goes around there. That tidies up all the red. I've got a wee bit over there, but I'll just keep that a wee bit bigger, make it look like a shadow, like I meant it. There we go. I'm just going to block this in as well whilst I'm here. Right. Bottom edge, again, just tidy it up. Thicker line on, covers all the wee sort of messy bits. Covers my messy pro marker bits, and it covers my messy earlier bits. And you can do, it depends how hard you want to go with this, depends how thick you get. I went over that a couple of times, whereas in here I might just go over it once. That was quite a nice line anyway, but you know, just go over it, tidy it up as you see fit. Don't worry if you put a thick bit where you shouldn't have a thick bit, because if it's just in an odd position, no one will notice it. And look the part anyway. So I'm a bit careful with this, a bit steadier. This is the bit where you want to take your time and get your lines to look just about spot on. This could be the last point which you use pens on these. It does take a bit of practice getting your lines just so, but it comes from going back to the start of the video where it says you should draw with biro. If you draw with a biro, it's cheap, but you lean heavy, you get a thick line that's dark. You lean light, you get a thin line that's light. So it's good when you come to do this. It's a sort of skill that you'll fine tune by footing about with biros and doodling. If you doodle, you're already halfway there. And once again, the line's not quite right there, but I'm just going to pretend there's a shadow there. There's a shadow there. Look at that. That's the way it was meant to be all along, honest. Right, so I'm going to detail in these steps now. This is emphasising the steps, but it's also tidying up my orange pro marker marks. And whatever's left, I'll just put some grey in. bring in the bold pen. Bold pens acts almost like a brush, so you need to be very careful how you use it. Just the right amount of pressure. And you always put the brush part on the bottom of the part. You always have a nice thick line on the bottom. As I say, unless it's lit from underneath or something like that. Right, a bit more on the wheels I think. These wheels are not looking as good as that wheel, and that's no use. So I'm going to go ahead and do my chunky tyres. You will see this, but it doesn't need to be mega neat and tidy, because you're going to be doing some more lines on it. Just when I'm doing this, I can see that my wheel is not big enough, so I'm just going to do that, kick it down a bit. That'll be black anyway, so it shouldn't make any difference. The wheel. Slightly smaller wedges because it's further away, you can see. Yeah, it doesn't need to be too neat. No one's going to be looking specifically at the tread of that tyre. You don't need to waste time on it, just whack it in, give an indication that there's a tread on it. This is the one I'm going to be looking at, that's the one I put the most definition in. The rest of them, yeah, they're the same as that one. Don't need to go crazy. Right, so in comes these pens. And we'll start doing tyres now. Apologies for the noise, I'm just freeing them all up. I tend to leave these ones in their wee tray, put them back in order as I go along. I don't know if you can see that, just out of shot. So, I'm just going to drink a coffee and get onto it. Now, very rarely are tyres shiny, so you're not going to, you're not really going to have white on them. So this is my lightest grey. I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole lot in it because, like I said, you're not going to have grey that's, you're not going to have a shiny tyre. There's not going to be a white highlight on it. That's pretty wet actually. That's going through. See it there on the other side. So I'm happy with that. I can start making it a bit darker. Just put my the resource material back on. So I'm going to be darker in between the trades, so just whack a different colour in there. As I say, I just build it up. Build it up and build it up. This tyre is going to be, this side of the tyre is going to be darker than that side of the tyre, so I can just go ahead and colour that in. The whole thing. Right, on to the next shade. Get a bit darker again. Start putting in this is as if it was the wall of the trade, if you will. So it's a wee bit darker again. It's going to be pretty dark down here anyway, so just bring that down. Wall the trade, wall the trade, wall the trade, wall the trade, wall the trade. Let's have a look. So the wheel is darker away from the treads. So I'll just put that in and out. Yeah, this is all wet. This is still wet on wet. It's blended quite nicely because you're not going to have actual lines of colour on the side of a tyre. So that's fine. I'm going a bit darker again. I actually think we weren't dark enough there, so I'm just going to bring that in. That's starting to look a bit more like trade. This tyre's still thicker than that one, but that's okay. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. And we've got a shadow right here. Obviously, a bit of shadow right there. Right, this is the darkest one before you go into black now. So now I'll give the tyre shade depth. Just put an extra accent around there. Oh, that's really dark. That's really dark, he says. Just go ahead and colour these ones in. They're fine. You're not going to see them anyway. And here as well. It's going to be dark. Right. Okay. That wheel's looking pretty good. Just do the bottom bits now. Really, really dark now. Yes, my wheel that's too big. Let's just make that smaller right now. There you go. Bring that into there. Giving the tread more depth. There we go. It's not so dark now. Wee lines in there. It's not so big now. Looks about the right size. That's fine. Right, in here needs to be darker, so I'm just whacking this grey right on top of the red. It's the dark grey, it's not the black. Right, steps are black, but we're going to put on this medium grey initially, see how it looks. Pro markers also change colour when they dry, so it's worthwhile to do this on a bit. We're actually going to do another bit and just see how it ends up. Right, so I've got other wheels to do, so I'll go on to them. Again, this is a bit where you would fast forward, but that's not to, so bear with me. Try and get this out as quick as I can. Excuse me, getting hungry. Sorry if I'm deafening you there. Just organise my pens a bit more. Where's my tray? There's my tray. Yeah, that might be my family coming back, so I might need to pause the video in a minute. Taking over the dining room table actually at the moment. I've lost it. Yeah. Touch in here. Yeah, right. Okay. So you can start to see that's starting to come off the page now. Time to do a bit of shadow work. Shadow work I tend to go for, this is the darkest grey before I go into black. So what I do is I just draw a line between stuff like that. There we go. And we'll draw a line between stuff here as well. And whilst I'm putting the shadow in, I have realised that I've not drawn the other wheel. This is a 3-wheel thing instead of a 4-wheel thing. So we have to kind of work out where that wheel's going to go. So it's going to be, that's that angle. This angle's going to be tighter. So we'll go from there to there. It's not going to be as far apart as that one. So that one is about that apart. So yep, it's not going to be there. It's going to be more or less where I've got my finger. It's not going to be very detailed because no one cares about a wheel that's way around here that no one can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it very quickly with this. And really dark grey, there we go, and there it's there, boom, wheel done. So what I was going to say to you is I do a thick line connecting all the wheels, and that's the main body of the shadow. You can thicken it up a bit if you wish, but really you don't need to. That's sufficient. Keep it smooth though. Don't do what I just did and put lines everywhere. So it's essentially a line that kind of joins the whole lot together. There we go. So that's the main part of the shadow. I then go a shade lighter, and I give it some more. And I go slightly bigger, not in the top though, just in the bottom. And then I go lighter again, and I go bigger again. And if there's anything sticking out that you want to put in, you can put it in. It doesn't really apply to this one. What I'm going to do though, I'm going to give it a wee point. I'm just going to take it off here a bit. And here, we're alright there, I think. Okay there. What I maybe would do, maybe bring that down a touch, like that. I was quite happy with the line of that one. I'm just going over it again. I don't want to see pen marks here, so I'm going over it again, make it a bit wetter, let it bleed into itself, let it blend. There we go. So, shadows in. Sorry, I keep turning that. I'm not used to having a camcorder above me. So that's most of the body. The rest of it is these and these, so we'll quickly do that with the grey pens because it's a black component. So grey pens again, grey, really dark grey, black. I might go one shade lighter, but that is really it. I'm not doing anything else. So I'll just put a couple of lines in here. A couple lines in here. They're actually my highlights. And then I'll go one darker. Leave a bit of the highlight colour there. Try and keep it straight. You can leave white on these if you were wanting to, but they're black. There's no. They're black and they're matte. They're not really that shiny, so I'm not too concerned about even white highlights. You don't get white highlights and stuff that's matte and black. A little bit darker again. Try to keep it straight. And see what I've done, I haven't put the highlight right in the top, which is where you would think about putting it, but what I've done is I've put it kind of more in the middle and I've put a darker colour in the top, and then my final colour, the black, I'm going to put just on the bottom edge. There you go, that is what I'm looking for. That's some black matte pillars, if you will. Just going to go over them, make sure they look just so. Again, slightly thicker line because there's nothing that's meaning that is an entity in its own right. It's out there. Big and bold. Go over this bit a few times. It's alright, it'll look fine. There we go. Right. Cab. The cab is black but it is glossy, so we will be having some lights, some highlights. So I'm thinking about that. I'm leaving white. This is my lightest grey. I'm leaving some white bits where they're likely to catch the light. I'm going to leave the very front edge of that. And we're probably going to go ahead and colour this whole bit in. My railings, I'm just going to put a bit of colour in my railings as well. I don't think they're shiny, I think they're just matte black, but I'll put some colour in them anyway. Right, lines are all out of order now. Luckily the greys are labelled though, so it helps folk like me with my eyes. not seeing colours properly. I labelled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which makes life a lot easier. Plus they're grey. I know they're grey. Says it on them. So again, I put the lights colour they're going to be on, and now I'm just putting on the next shade. Next shade down. We'll just see how it goes. We're going to go pretty dark with them, I think. This line's actually a highlight line. This line here, I've drawn it in. I don't know if I don't think I meant to do that. My grey's going on to my orange here. Again, that first. Be alright. I might leave a wee highlight there, but the light's going to catch it. Put some things down there. This is the middle grey colour that those steps were. As you can see, it dries lighter than it looks, so we'll go darker. Oh, that's not actually. No, I've got my greys mixed up. That's the middle grey colour. That's the darker one. I'll put that on. Yeah, because I want them darker. Right, so I've gone down my 4 greys onto the darkest grey there is. Put some on that. That's going to be pretty dark down there. It's going to be dark as well. Right. This line here shouldn't be there. Total mistake. You don't really see it. Same with that one. Like I said, shouldn't really be there. But, you know, no one's going to know. I'm not going to tell them. Told you guys, but anyone that hasn't seen this video won't notice it. Right, so it's just darkening this down a bit. This is a sort of reflection that I'm trying to generate. As if the light just kind of hit the side of the cab. You see, I've gone over this with just about every shade of grey. That's just the way I do it. You know, it might not be right. You might be overkill, but I tend to feel if it's there and you've got different ones, you might see bits of this, bits of that. It might make it look like it's supposed to look. Just going to go very, very light. I'm barely touching it. I'm barely touching the page with that because the Pro markers do leave quite a thick line. There we go. And then the black. And the black is going on. Just going to ignore that bit that was put on by mistake. Don't want that bit there. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to put a wee bit in there, a little accent. Leave a wee touch there for the light to catch. I think I'll do the rest with the black liners, actually. Where it is. What I'm doing, going over this so many times, is I'm just hiding the fact that my Pro marker is going all over the place. Straightening up some of those wonky lines that I put in earlier. There's the top step. I don't know why there's a bit of white there, we'll just make that black. These are for shadow and probably window seals. missing the point there, but that's okay. You make that a wee bit thicker to tie in with this bit. Again, it's alright, not a big problem. Right, okay, that's starting to look pretty good. This is going to be a lot darker here. There is a bit that I have done orange that should be black. This bit here. So we'll just make it black now. Like I said, you know, it's all about how you fix mistakes. There's some white writing on it, but I can't do white writing because I've coloured it in orange. So I'm just going to put some dark grey over it. Go over my black, and we'll just do that. It's not writing, it's, yeah, a little bit of detail, right? Right, okay, shiny windows. Right, shiny windows. You want to pick a really light blue, greeny colour, I suppose. Struggle with my colours, so you have to bear with me. What's that? Pebble blue. Yeah, that'll do. So you're always leaving white on windows because they're shiny. So you just put a couple of lines through like that. And you do some edges like that. So you're sort of saying, well, this is what shape the glass is, and it's reflective. So it's going to have a shiny bit on it. Likewise, it's going to have a shiny bit on it. And it's also let them know what shape the glass is. Yep, glass is in. I'm a square. Give me square edges. Look it up. Bring in your other colour. Hopefully this is a wee bit darker. Oh, well, bluer. Must be a nice day. Blue sky reflecting. Leaving the white edge there because there's no frame on it. Maybe a bit dark those windows, but not to worry. Go a wee bit darker, give it its box shape back again. It doesn't need to touch the edge. Better if it doesn't, probably. Yeah, shiny windows, done. So, on to the boom. What time we at? Oh, had you guys here for ages. So the boom is running from there to there. It is catching the light from this source, so that we have a highlight here. It's darkest here, fading into something slightly lighter there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and colour the whole boom in with the lightest grey, because it's not going to be reflecting any highlights. Again, I just turn my page. It's the best way for me to do it. Go over it a couple of times, let the colour bleed, let it merge into itself. We don't want to see the lines. So it's nice and wet. I'm not doing this bit yet because I haven't decided what's going on here yet. I'll do this bit though. Same colour, doing it separately though. It is important that this goes on looking fairly solid because it is a big smooth surface, so you don't want to see lots of scribbly pen movements in it. But also I want it quite wet because I'm going to try and blend a colour into it, which is not easy with roll markers. Right, next one. I nearly picked up the green and blue there, that would have been a disaster. So our boom's going to be a bit darker here. So bring in a darker colour. And I'll go over that again. Slightly further back. Right, so that's blending a wee bit. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and make that bit this bit darker. Anyway, I want it to blend here. If I think that's maybe a bit dry, I don't think it is, but you could perhaps go over it with a lighter colour. Right, now I'm going to stick some of the darker colour again. This is the third grey. It's nice and wet here, so we're alright. Maybe shouldn't have done that mark there. It's going, see it's soaking in. Got away with it. Wee light there, that's okay. That's fine, that'll be fine. That'll look alright. Just for thoroughness, I'm just going to put a bit on the back here. Again, it's wet, it should blend if I've done it right. But you want to give it a kind of raggedy edge anyway, just to kind of make it a bit less obvious what you're up to. Right, okay. Oh, I'll take a break for a bit. Yeah. Right, I'm back, having had a wee break. Whilst I had my break, I realised I had a wee watch at the sort of first half, and I realised that I was talking a bit quietly. So sorry about that. It's I don't have a mic. It's just my camcorder picking up my voice. I'd say there's a wee bit of background noise now. I said previously, I'm in my dining room. The bottom half of the house is open plan, so the old fridge freezer's not that far away. It's on its last legs and it's gurgling away like I don't know what. The boiler's also going as well because I'm getting a bit cold. The first half of the video I'd switched the fridge off because it was so noisy, but everything in the fridge is getting a bit warm now, so I'm getting cold. Stuff in the fridge is getting warm, so there's a bit of background noise, and sorry about that, but you know, it is what it is. Right, moving on. I was having a look at my sketch as well whilst I was having a break, and although the source material has this lighter, I'm not going to do that because I don't think it's going to work on the sketch, so I'm going to make that darker than that, and that's the thing. You can do what you want, it's your sketch. So I'm going to go for the second darkest black, grey, sorry, and I'm just going to line that in. Oh, sorry about that. Pro marker decided to attack the tripod there. Folk would say, well, if you didn't turn your sketch then you wouldn't have done that, but never mind, that's how I draw it. Whatever works for you, you know. If you need to turn your sketch to get some good lines, turn your sketch. You know, it's no one's gonna care. You know. no one knows how you do it, so do what you want. Right, bringing in the next shade of grey now. Still wet, I want it dark. Doing exactly what I did above, I'm just doing it there. So I've got a wee kind of blend, a wee blend there. That's what I'm after, I'm quite happy with it. There we go, done. Right, got a wee bit of chrome. Chrome's much the same as glass. You just put in a line of blue and green. You don't necessarily have to be too funny about it, just whack it in. A wee bit stronger than the glass perhaps, because it's usually a sort of direct reflection of what's going on outside. If you're doing a big chrome part, you actually have to sort of draw an upside down reflection of what you imagine is on the other side of your piece. So if you had like a chrome plate on the side of this machine, you'd have to draw like trees upside down and sky in the bottom, and but kind of blurry. I can maybe show you guys that another time if you want. But if it's cylinders, it's just a line of green, line of blue, representing sky and grass, trees, whatever. You know, it does the job. So I'm just gonna do a wee bit on this, tidy this up, and then I'll line that, and we'll get on with this sketch, because it's a long video. I knew it would be. My sketches generally take between 3 and 5 hours, depending on how they go. So I'm actually doing this one quicker than I normally would, which does make it a wee bit rough around the seams, but you know, it's still acceptable. Right, this bit. So I need to find a small pen. Got a sea of pens here. I was too busy watching what I'd already filmed and having a look at my sketch rather than tidying up my pens, which I should probably have done. So just think about your perspective when you're doing stuff like this. I'm just doing this or doing it in my head. It's just like the rest of my sketch. You're probably surprised at how quickly I do it and how much I don't concentrate too much on the finer details. You kind of get away with it. See if you've got some nice shading techniques. Whoever's looking at the sketch will generally not be too concerned with the details if the shading's nice. You know, it gives it the realism. You don't need to have millimetre precision if your shading's good. It just makes the whole thing quicker. You know, it depends what you want to do. I mean, a sketch is a sketch. It's not fine art. It's not, you're not sitting here with watercolours or oil paints trying to do a masterpiece. You know, want to spend 30 hours on it. It is, although my sketches take a few hours, it's still a quick process for, you know, what I'm doing. So just bear that in mind when you're going along. You know, are you taking too long doing one thing? Should you be taking that long doing it? You know, my perspective is a wee bit skewy here, I think, and maybe want to bring this down a bit to kind of bring this down a bit. It's difficult because that has to technically be smaller than that one, or the same size. It can't be bigger. If that's bigger than that, it just won't look right. So if I'm going to footer with my perspective, or I want to put tweaks on it, I need to kind of watch what I'm doing. But I guess that's just experience. Just the more you sketch, the better you'll get at it. Quite happy to leave that line in. You've seen what happens when you start colouring it up. Remember at the start of the sketch, I had pencil marks that were in dodgy places. Don't even see them now. You don't look for them, don't notice them. You're too busy. You're caught by the orange and the red and the dark shadows. You're no fussed. So it's no an issue. So this bit here has some sort of arms that come down and grab a boom that slides in and out and grabs the container by the looks of it. I've actually drawn that slightly wrong. Not to worry though. Not concerned. Cover it up. Hide it. It'll be alright. That's actually going to here. This line doesn't exist. So it happens. I'll draw my container in. There you go. What I'm going to do to hide it, I'm suddenly going to have the top of the container visible. There we go. That line is now at the top of the container. It's a wee bit, you know, a wee bit ski-whiffy, you know. It's not technically as accurate as it could be, but it'll be fine. Like I said, you can hide a lot. Don't lose sleep over it, don't get upset, don't bin the sketch, just keep going. You'll end up with something that'll look pretty good. Anyway, just thinking about the positions of these wee bits. These are wee bits that the forklift section would lift. That distance has to be smaller than that distance because that distance is further away. Well, as you look at it, that bit's closer than that bit. So, likewise, that should be smaller than that. That should be smaller than that. Just trying to explain what I'm doing. I get caught up, forget what I'm doing, so. Right, okay, that's probably enough to get going. Maybe put some more details in, just in case there's something I need to highlight. That in there, that there, that there. Yep, so that's doing something. We'll just do that right across. That's not what the source material looks like, but it looks better in the sketch. Got some cables coming in. Double lines for cables, so you can put a wee bit of colour in them if you have to. Where's that going to? It's coming up here. I've drawn that at too steep an angle, so we cover it up. What I'm going to do, we'll put a loop in it. Let's see what we're doing. I say I'm going to put a loop in it. How am I going to draw a loop in it? There. Yeah, that's not too bad. So like I say, just got to figure out how you're going to cover stuff up, because you just can't. You can't concentrate for that length of time and do it perfect. You can if you take even longer. Even then, there's always going to be this moment where you just switch off, don't do it right. Cool. Right, so that's a chevron type pattern, so I'll just point that in and out. Make them get a bit smaller as we go off into distance. Perspective again, bit of realism. Right, okie doke. I think my container's a bit stumpy, but never mind. Looks like I can do anything about it now. Okay. Here's a bit where I did that bit really good and make a total mess of that. Does happen. Sort my pens out actually, quickly, because I've got a pebble blue in there which is just trying to get picked up and added in the wrong place. Oh, just I was reviewing the first half of the video. There's your blender. Not to be confused with a grey. It's got the gradient on it. I honestly don't know what you'd use that for, other than making a tide mark that you wanted, because it doesn't do anything. As long as you work wet on wet, your colours will blend fine. So I don't even know why that's still in my case, to be honest with you, because I never use it. I may as well getting rid of it. That's not the right colour, so we're going to go for grey 4. Bring it down a bit. I realised as well that I never actually explained why use biros. Obviously it's cheaper, but when you're learning to sketch, if you use something that you can't rub out, you'll learn, one, how to cover it up, and two, it reminds you where you went wrong, to stop you from going wrong the next time you draw something like that. And also you have to learn pressure, you know, when to go a wee bit harder, a wee bit softer, get it the way you want it. You just don't get that with a pencil. Well, you do get it with a pencil, but what you tend to do is you tend to go for a different pencil in the range, and you rub stuff out, and you know, all that kind of stuff. It's really, pencil's good for doing highlights because you can just take a rubber across it. Obviously you don't have that luxury with this. Lewis in class had asked about white pens, so I got one. This was all I could find. It's a white gel pen. I had a go with it, and it's, to be honest, it's a bit rubbish. It doesn't really do much at all. We'll just go onto the window here and say I wanted to put a highlight there. So this is white pen, and it's just soaking in. There's nothing happening at all. Useless. I dare say there's something out there. If there is, I haven't found it yet. Maybe go spend, you know, a bit of time in an art shop trying to find something, but I mean, that, you see yourself, that's just rubbish. So you're better just leaving a white bit and then working towards it till you get it just right. Right, onward with this. This whole bit up here is grey, is black apart from that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and colour the whole lot in with the very light grey. Exactly the same as the tyres and the dark bits of the cabin. It's all just going to be greys and blacks. But that's fine. Greys and blacks are easy. And they're effective as well. You get a really nice sense of depth with the greys, because they follow on from each other quite well. With the colours, you sometimes struggle to get a colour that is a sort of darker shade of that exact colour. In the greys, you don't get that, so it's always good to do a sketch that involves a lot of grey and black, because you just get, it's just an easy fix. And there's somebody at the door. Aye there, sorry about that. But, somebody looking for some tools. Now, that's probably dried, and you might find that we might end up with a slight tide mark there. So I'm just going to go right over the whole lot again, get it wet, because I don't want a tide mark on it. And it's also black. I'll try not to sing. I'm going to put you through that. Right, my source material back on. Right, So details, like I was saying, greys are good because greys look good without too much effort. I'm just going down the greys, darker grey, just adding it as and when. Start to build it up. Just making this bit a wee bit thicker to hide the fact that it's a bit off. It's all just bits, it's all just techniques for getting around little faux pas that you've made along the way. No one's perfect, happens. It's what you do about it, I suppose. And you'll notice I'm flipping things around here. I'm putting dark bits where you would expect to see light bits. You'd think the light's coming this way, you have a bright bit, and then it gradually get darker, and I've done the opposite. Now, it wouldn't necessarily look like that in real life, but it looks good when you're drawing. It highlights the highlight. Putting a dark next to a light highlights the highlight, and it just sets it off. I'm not doing it on this bit, but I'm doing it on these bits. Mixing it around, it does. You can see yourself, see what you think. It's how I do it. As I say, it might not be the way you're supposed to do it. You know, your art teacher may not be best impressed with that, but it works for me. So that's the way I do it. Similar thing here. If it's a flat surface, I tend to try and make these deliberate changes straight. If it's curved, make it curved. If it's flat, make it straight. Just that's what works. So that's what I do. Also step things, the highlight shapes, that would probably be straight in the real world, but it looks good in the sketch. So there is a bit of creative license going on, but you know, you can be the judge of it once it's done, and you can decide if you want to do something similar in your own sketching. It's up to you. It's a thing. Like I said, it's not a photo, it's a sketch. So someone drew it, so it's never going to be exactly the same as a photo. Right, yellow warning lines. I'm whacking yellow right next to grey and on top of black, and it's fine. There's no issues with it at all. And that's Pro Markers. That's one of the things that's brilliant about them, because you can't do that with paint. You can't do that with pastels. It just all mixes together. But you get to keep your difference in colours. Right, shipping container time. I'm just wondering what colour to make my shipping container, because I say it's not in the source material and I have drawn it wrong, and I'm wondering if there's anything I can do colour wise to sort of bring it back from the dead. Look at this, that shipping container is a bit better. So how am I going to do it? I think I need to make my shipping container bigger. It's not right, it's too stumpy. So this is either going to work or it's going to ruin my sketch. So you guys are witness to one of these things that I do where I either pull it off or I don't. So I think the shipping container needs to be more like that. An idea of where my lines are going. So let's see. Shipping containers sometimes have thicker bits, so this one's going to have a thicker bit, which should help cover this up. So it's just some sort of container. Maybe not your bog standard shipping container, but you know, that'll do your job. You bring that out a bit. Go for yeah, okay. Right, we'll go with that. So I'm just going to go straight into my finer pen here. I don't see any point in using the small pen. There we go. It's not too bad. Not bad at all. That'll do. So that's not too bad. This is a bit kooky, this bit, so we'll be putting a shadow in there to disguise that. Top's scaling quite a bit there, so I want to do something about that. Maybe Put a bit of a shadow in there. Try and draw that down a bit. It's not too bad. It's a wee bit ski with. Obviously, we've got perspective that's wildly different from top to bottom, but it is what it is. I can't fix it now. It's in permanent ink. At the end of the day, you're looking at this, you're not looking at the shipping container, so you might find when it's all said and done, it's not too bad. That's nice as well, that's not quite joining onto there. Oh dearie me, making loads of mistakes now. If, with the previous drawing I just used colour to mark up the shipping container, but for this one I'm going to do it in pen, in black pen, and it should make it that wee bit busier and stop the mistakes looking so busy. I'm just going to draw it freehand. Things already all over the place, so just going to go with it. And try and continue these lines through. Bad. You actually put a pencil line in there to help me. So I get this right. This is how you cover up something that you've made a mess of. We'll see if anyone notices when it's done. Just keep quiet. Right, time for some highlights. I'll use my ball pen for this because it's more or less one line with that. Yeah, we're already starting to hide it. Should be fine, should be fine. And my dark line in the bottom, because there's always a dark line on the bottom. I might use it to change the perspective here. I started on the inside of the line, finished the outside of the line, it just helped bring that out a bit. Point. I'm getting to the point now where we should just use the ball pen, so let's just use it. And it's actually helping me out. What I'm doing is I'm applying more pressure here and less pressure up there, and it's giving me a thicker line here, a thinner line there, which is fine. Right, now to get away with all that dark, my shipping container needs to be pretty dark, so I'm going straight for grey 4, and we'll just put this in and see how it goes. Now I want to leave a white edge down the side and at the bottom. That's my highlight. Still wet, so it's okay that I'm doing this in a sort of back to front kind of way. The pen will blend together, you won't see all these squiggly marks. So, now we'll just leave a slight line on the top. This shipping container is obviously very glossy paint. Glossy grey paint. Which suits us fine. Like I said, you get away with a lot with greys, so if you've got a one where you need to change things, it helps to use grey, get you out of trouble. So you'll see on the flat bit, which is essentially the frame of the container that I've invented to cover up a mistake, the white is on this side, but on the sort of recessed corrugated bit of the container it's on the other side, and that's just to show where it's catching. It's kind of similar to here, you put the highlights and the dark sides on different sides, and it kind of gives you an effect, which is what you're after. Right, this side is going to be darker still, so I'm going to go for the darkest grey, and it's not going to have white highlights, it's going to have another kind of grey. So actually that's running out. Grey 2's run out, so I'm going to go for grey 3. You don't get much out of Pro Marker, which is also annoying because they're not cheap, as I've said. But you get maybe 2 or 3 sketches out of Pro Marker. Heavy use, not even that, and then it's done. And as soon as you start getting a sort of dryness coming from it, it's time to bin it. You won't get what you need, it won't work properly. The whole thing is that the colours sort of melt into each other, You just won't get that if your Pro Marker's drying out. So as soon as you start to get that, just put it in the bin. We'll get another one, same colour. That's unfortunately what needs to be done. Right, okay, so the top of my container is going to be fairly nondescript. If you remember, it's not even supposed to be there. So I'm just going to make it shadow. So going for the darkest grey, and then I'll use black. I'll even go over it with a line pen, which is slightly darker still, I think. That should just about cover everything, cover all the sins. There we go. I think I can actually get away with just doing that. I think we're fine at that. I don't think anyone's going to know any different. Right. Okay, a wee bit more lining in to do on the container. A bit of shadow and stuff. So you always do your outlining bit after the Pro Markers, because you can cover up stuff, squinty lines and bits where you've been a bit too enthusiastic with the Pro Marker, and stuff where colours have bled into other colours. Fix slightly wonky lines. And remember, a thicker line where there's nothing, so there's nothing there. It's like this bit over here, so there's nothing there, so you can go thicker. But where it meets, you don't, and it just helps lift the bits that you need to lift, and stops the bits that you don't. Sorry, I just realised you possibly couldn't see what I was doing. I mean, these rules aren't 100%. You can put stuff in where you think it should go. Just whatever you fancy, whatever you feel makes it look the part. Don't need to stick closely to the source material either. You know I haven't, so I'm just gonna. This is a trick I use. Put a slight lip on there, and it just makes it look like that's inside that. I should have drawn it like that before, but I didn't. So just gonna try and fix it. Get my mould out. Put the thicker line in here. Bottom of the boom and all that. Same here. Bottom of that. Right, okay, that's looking not too bad. I feel there should be something here. Some sort of lip or something, some sort of extra component. So I'm just going to imagine one. Bring that out a bit. And then I'm just going to put darker grey on it. And I'm not going all the way, so I'm leaving a wee highlight. And there you go. That's my imagined component doing its job. Bit more line in it to do. It's quite difficult to go over lines that you've already drawn, but you just have to practice it. Steady hand, a lot of pressure with my hand, like this bit of my hand, I'm leaning pretty heavy on that. You might hear that's my hand dragging the page, it's not the pen. And that's just, I've got my thumb and my finger locked hard to draw this line. I'm looking at it so hard that my eyes are starting to go a bit weird. So I'll leave that at that. I think that's about it. Wheels. Need to do my wheels. Forgot to do them, didn't I? So grab a red, put a bit in there. We've got a bit of a highlight. They are shiny. Just try to find that red that I used for the dark stuff. Just there. Put it in there. Put it in there. Put extra there. Looking at it, yeah, I think I'm happy enough with how that lot looks. I was going to do a detail view there, but I don't know if I've got room, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the arrows on the big sketch. Maybe that's kind of big. I don't know if I'm going to gain anything by putting more on it, so I'm just going to go and draw some arrows. Arrows are just like 3D lettering. If you've ever done 3D lettering, arrows are just the same. So like if I was going to, that's the wrong pen, if I was going to write my name in 3D, you just write it in a sort of big fat font. I used to do this a lot when I was younger, on my jotters at school and whatever else. So you write it in a big fat font, and then you come down at an angle wherever you would see it. And then you join up. I'm doing this very fast, as you can tell. You get it just 3D, and then you just make the bits you just drew darker than the rest, and you have sort of instant 3D or embossed effects. You can use that to your arrows. I used to practice this with my biro as well. Another thing you can do to make them look quite good, I'll just use the same pen to sort of simulate the biro, although it doesn't work the same. You can put in some shininess. Don't know if that's actually working very well. Possibly the black pen is not the best choice for this. I'm going to make my shadows darker now. Yeah, I don't think the black pen works too well for that, but you can do it with a biro pretty good. Anyway, that's the process that you use with the arrows. So that boom's obviously coming out like that. So first of all, we're going to go that way, and then we're going to go that way. And that is the direction of movement. Then come out, equal points. Same again, that's a bit shy, make that bigger. Equal points. There we go. And I want to make that 3D, so for that particular angle, I think I'm going to go this way. And it's exactly the same process as I just used with my teenage graffiti, if you will. And that's a nice 3D arrow. And I normally do my arrows red. I've got a big red truck, but I'm still going to stick with it. The red arrows look good. The red arrows. So in goes the lines. I always do 3 lines and then make it thicker. You can repeat that somewhere else if you wish. So this is going to be a kind of orangey arrow. Probably too close to the truck, to be fair. I might go over it with a different colour. Go for a darker shade. Bring the darker shade in. Sort of repeating just extending that pattern out. Dark shade again. And then what you can do is you can put one line there, one there, one there. It just kind of gives it a sort of reflection. And then put in some darker bits. Colour again. There we go. Then it's line work. So exact same, dark down the bottom, same principles as the sketch. Fix the wee squinty bit there. There you have a nice illustrative arrow showing where that moves. Do another one down here showing that goes up and down too. So direction travel, here we go, out a bit, equal in. This time I'm going to go this way. Because it's so small, I might just go with the black. and that's showing what that's doing. That's more or less it. That's the gist. You don't really need to explain that wheels move, because you know that's a given that the wheels are going to turn, so you don't really need to do much else with it. I'm just going to go ahead and sign it. I'm not going to bore you with all the annotation. Sign and date. I'll just quickly tell you, because I know the video's been going on for a while now, when you're annotating, you just write something, and then you do a wiggly line, and then draw a black triangle, and then you can write something else. And do another wiggly line. The reason for the wiggly lines is it separates it from the rest of your sketch. I don't really have any wiggly lines there, so if I start putting wiggly lines in with text, you can see that that is not part of the sketch. And the black arrows, somewhere where you're going to see them, just make it stand out. And if you want, you can put a border in. It's a nice idea to put a border in and leave, you know, the sketch coming out the border. It just sets it off. I don't know if I'm going to do that yet. I'll maybe see how it goes. I think perhaps I want to colour photocopy all of them as they are, because they're fairly decent sketches. I'm quite happy with them. I know that one went a bit wrong, but as you can see, it looks fine the way it is. We'll see if anyone notices that it went wrong. If you watch the video, you'll know, but if you don't, you might not pick up on it, and that's the whole name of the game. So, hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to ask me anything, drop me an email or see me in college. And yeah, thanks for watching.